This is Jafric Radio.
You are watching Jafric Radio live. You are watching Jafric Radio live. You are watching Jafric Radio live. You are watching Jafric Radio live.
You're listening to Home Sweet Home on Jafric Radio. You're listening to Home Sweet Home on Jafric Radio.
Hello, our cherished viewers and listeners. This is Jafric Radio Home Sweet Home program. Thank you so much for tuning into Jafric Radio Home Sweet Home program. Right. We just want to take this opportunity to say sorry. We apologize.
This is Jafric Radio.
Of this program is supposed to be 4 p.m. Japan time, but it's now 25 minutes late, so we are very sorry for the delay. It was due to circumstances beyond our control, and we bless God that everything is okay now, so we just want to say sorry. If you have joined us, please share the link with your friends and loved ones and let them be part of this discussion that we are going to discuss today. Right. Thank you so much. Don't forget the Bayside Modeling Agency.
This is Jafric Radio.
This program. Yes, Bayside Modeling Agency is at Omotesando in Tokyo. Yes, so if you are a foreigner in Japan and you have talent or any skill that you want to exhibit, please contact
This is Jafric Radio
agency at this email address, info@bay-side.base. They have a wonderful staff that will attend to you. All right. Okay. And also, let's go straight to Ghana. Turmeric Hotel. Turmeric Hotel is at East Legon in Accra. All right. It's close to the Kotoka International Airport. So, if you want to visit Ghana, please, and you want a nice place to lodge, go to Turmeric Hotel. All right. If you need more information, just contact them. Go to their website at www.turmerichotel.com and you'll get a lot of information about them. Thank you so much. Today, I have a very special gift for you all. Yes, gift for you all. And at the end of it, you know that I give you a gift. Yes, thank you so very much. With me in studio here, I would like to introduce Mr. Fred Jeche Mensah. Mr. Fred.
Yeah.
Mr. Fred is here. All right.
Hello, viewers. Good to have you again. Yeah, I'm pleased to be here.
Thank you, Mr. Fred. And your best, right? Yes, your best. Always his contribution. I don't know what to say, but when he sent a text message, I think it concludes everything that we do. Right. So with me here is Mr. Yahaya. The other time I said Mr. Yaya and someone wrote it's Yahaya. All right. So Mr. Yahaya is here with us in Jafric Studio. Mr. Yahaya, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Deaconess.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for
Oh,
having me.
thank you. Okay, so now today's topic, I think we did last week in Chi, and then today we will do English. Right. So today's topic, we are discussing the causes and solution of misconduct in marriage. Misconduct in marriage that leads to broken marriage. There are some misconduct is pardonable. They can pardon you for that. But others, very difficult, that if care must not be taken, you end up your marriage. All right. So, Mr. Yaya, we are talking about misconduct. Mr. Jite, misconduct in marriage. I think I will ask Mr. Yaya first because he's close to me now. So, Mr. Yaya, what is your understanding on misconduct in marriage?
Thank you, Deaconess. and
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for having me. And viewers, let me also add my voice to Deaconess and apologizing for the late start of the program. Some of the problems could also be attributed to me, so I'm really sorry. I take blame, and I'm really sorry for that.
It's okay.
Yes, today's topic is about misconduct in marriage, some of the causes and its solutions. When we talk about misconduct, generally, what is misconduct? It is when you act in the opposite way of the normal norm or regulations.
Right.
That's where you've misconducted yourself. So, misconduct in marriage perspective is when you don't play by the rule of marriage, and when you do things which are not supposed to be done, when you act on things which are not supposed to be done or which are beyond normal marriage setting, then you call it a misconduct in marriage.
Right.
So that is it for now.
Thank you so much. Mr. Yaya has given his explanation. Mr. Fred, the same question to you. Misconduct in marriage.
The same question is like you're looking for different words.
Yeah, different.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
You may have different opinions.
I think he said it or no.
Yeah.
I think he said it all. Yeah, misconduct in a relationship is when the other party misbehaves,
Right.
or put on some kind of behavior which the other party sees as inconvenient or outside the norm. It's like he said. So, yes, when your behavior is unacceptable by the other party, it's like you've you've gone against the normal rules in every relationship, and of course that can be attributed to misconduct in the relationship.
All right. Thank you so much. What are some of the things that we see as misconduct in marriage? The behaviors that we see as misconduct.
Well,
it's open question. So
Okay.
Mr. Yaya and
It's like it's all works towards insubordination or sort of insolence in the family or in the relationship, like mistrust or cheating, over greediness, and lies, that is deceptiveness, and of course fornication too can come in.
All right.
So a variety of misconduct activities, and it mostly also depends on how your party receives your conduct or how he views that. So yes, that those kind of behavior can all be seen as inappropriate behavior in a relationship, and they are all misconduct.
All right.
Yeah. So
Mr. Yaya, do you have any different opinion of it?
Not really. Yes, not really.
All right.
Just as the topic speaks, and just as he has also put it, we have a normal way of living in life, and particularly when it comes to marriage setting.
Okay.
It has certain things that everybody assume it is normal, and every marriage, when it comes to religious side, it has a way that the religion has a way of advising us to live by it. And when you come to the normal setting, human setting too, there are certain things that we accept.
Okay.
Whether
This is Jafric Radio.
accept it as conduct that conform to the norms of the norms and culture of the society. But when you act in the other way that does not conform to, then it becomes misconduct.
Okay.
Yeah, and then what we also what I can also add is that in any marriage setting, you have the parties has a way of living.
That's right.
The party has a way of living,
Yeah.
and then the way they communicate. So you should understand each and every part of this in the marriage setting.
Okay.
So, and marriage as it is an institution of itself. So you should know what plays in there and what does not play. So once you accept to get married, you should know these parameters and be able to act within it when it comes to communication, when it comes to respecting the other partner, when it comes to sharing of ideas, when it comes to behaving yourself as to what to do and what to know, just like he cited the act of playing other games outside the marriage, trying to be stingy in the marriage when you have it, and others. So those
Oh wow,
things become-
stinginess is part of misconduct.
Yeah, it is.
Ooh.
Yeah, it is. Because if you don't have, that is different.
Yeah.
But once you have it, and then your other partner is a must. It's wajib. It becomes obliged. The person becomes obliged on you to respect that person and to give the person his or her fair share
Okay.
of the relationship. And if you don't do all those things, you've misconducted yourself.
Right.
It doesn't conform to the rules of the game.
Wow.
And for that matter, you can be tagged as a misconduct.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, if I understand you properly, it's like every marriage, the couples have their set rules and regulations. And if you do opposites of that, it means that maybe misconduct has come to play. And let me ask, you brought a religious thing inside. For example, if
This is Jafric Radio.
a Christian and someone is a Muslim, and he said, okay, let's marry. And when we get married, you go to your church, and I will worship my, let's say, Islam. And just as you got married, the man said, no, you cannot be elsewhere, and I'll be elsewhere. So come join me. And if you also do not accept that, it causes a lot of problem. Can we say this as misconduct?
Thank you very much. I would say no. It cannot constitute a misconduct.
All right.
In that, before you get married, number one, the first thing is you saw the lady or the lady saw you, you saw the man. You agreed. You knew what both of you believe in.
Yeah.
And that particular issue should be sought out
Okay.
before you get into the intimacy
All right.
or the intimate or you get to the consummation. Once that thing was not solved, both of you were not well grounded to even go into the marriage.
Okay.
So if you went ahead to get married, it means it is assumed that you believe and you have agreed to all these things, what you do before. Those are the things that you do before the marriage, and after the marriage, you should continue with the plans that you have for the marriage
All right.
itself. But once you are not able to sort out that, and then it means something is lacking in the in the relationship. And for that matter, none of you can be blamed, because maybe you agreed earlier that I'll go to the church, I'll join the Christianity, or the other party said no, I'll have to join the Islam. I'll join you in Islam. But once if there wasn't such agreement, but there was an agreement that everybody would do his or her own, and after the marriage you are trying to put pressure on the other party to join you, then you are misconducting. You are breaching the rules.
That's right.
You are breaching the rules, and it's that one. It can also be a misconduct at that level.
Right.
But once you did agree that everybody should stay, and everybody staying on that time, it is not a misconduct in that setting. So I will call it that the two of you, I will call the two of you not being even ready, or you don't even know what you are you were going into, and you are there. Then you are trying to find solution to it, and that is unacceptable. Both of you have misconducted yourself.
That's right. Because a friend of mine asked this question. She's going through a lot about that. She's a Christian and the husband is a Muslim. Before they got married, both of them agreed that each one would serve where he is. And just as they married, and even initially, the man allows her to fellowship with her own church. But after she gave birth, it became a problem. So now the marriage is very, very shaky. So I don't know whether we can classify this as misconduct in marriage, because it's a breach of trust. Trust.
Yes, I will call it is a breach of trust and breach of bond between us. Once you breach a contract between you and the other, it becomes a misconduct. You agree that you said she's a female.
Yes. The lady is she.
You agree. You should know. Probably, I am suspecting that once a child has come, maybe he has begun to think that the upbringing of the child, which part. You understand? And that is where he's trying to force the lady, put pressure on the lady for her to join her, so that they will have a common religious training for the child, for the kids. But it is too late, because you agreed earlier. You should have considered that one first before going into the contract, before the consummation takes place. If you didn't put, that's why it is very important.
This is Jafric Radio.
Marital counseling. You introduce your partner to a counselor, and then they advise you on all these kind of things that will come in. When it comes in, things will change. So when it comes, it is not after you allow the thing to happen. That is where you are going to put pressure. No, that is unacceptable. It is a breach of trust. And it forms misconduct. He's misconducting himself by not following the rules that they set for themselves, what they agreed on. Thank you.
Thank you. So in this case, what would be the solution for the lady and the husband? If it's clearly a breach of trust that can be classified as misconduct, so what would be the solution?
Am I taking it?
Mr. Fred, can you come in?
Talking about solution is to reconcile.
Okay.
They need to talk to themselves once again.
Right.
To make sure that what they had before they got married, they both agreed upon.
Right.
Because they didn't do well in communication. That was a fact. So if they have married and they have started a family, then they need to go back and start it all over again. If they have a lot of problems now, that one party is pulling the other to his own beliefs. So yes, clearly it's a breach, as Mr. Aya said. It's not good. It's a gross misconduct in the relationship. So the solution is they have to go back and reconcile, talk deeply about their feelings. that this is what we agreed upon.
All right.
Yeah, and if there was a material thing which both of them look at before they got married, instead of looking for values of themselves
That's right.
or the compatibility of themselves, if they had made a mistake in looking at those areas, then they have to, like I said, they have to reconcile, communicate well, and develop some love relationship within them. Yeah,
Right.
that's my.
Does Mr. Aya have any other?
Yes, I want to add that yes, they need to communicate. Firstly, you have to agree that for every marriage setting, there will continue to be problem, because people who cannot marry, or who have difficulty to marry, or who wants to marry, if you are afraid of solving problems, then you can marry. You can get into the marriage, the institution, as people call it, because day in, day out, different things will come. And when two lovebirds initially are in love in the first place, they overlook certain things.
Yes.
And that's, I advise for them to go beyond what they see with each other. Some of them just look at how wealthy the person is, not riches. They will look at how wealthy this guy is, wealthy even though he's not rich, or she's wealthy even though she's not rich. Others will look at maybe the riches that he or she has, and then they'll go into it. Others just look at what their body responses to the person is, and that is what they go in. But trust me, once a male and female, the latter issue that I just mentioned, when you look at the body responses, once a male or once a female, you will surely have responses when you come close to any woman. And just as I said, any water quenches fire. So when you consider only that, you have this kind of problem, but you have to think deep. That's why you need to consult. Your parents are there, your church leaders are there, your religious leaders are there, counselors are there. Consult them. They will ask you questions. It will wake you up to these kind of things.
Yeah.
And then you'll be able to. But once it has happened, still you must stay in. You don't have to quit, because cutting off the head is not remedy to the headache. That's right. As they put it. To quit, no, it is not remedy to it. It has come. The problem has come. Tackle it head on. Communicate. If you love someone, you should be ready to compromise. So you have to compromise in a way where you are supposed to compromise. You have to compromise in a way, and then understand it, so that you move on. Then you remember that thing that has come, the family that has.
This is Jafric Radio.
It is something that you cannot break, no matter how far you keep yourself apart.
Right.
It can never. Your story can never be written without that part of it. It cannot be complete. So please, do their best. Communicate, as Mr. Yachi said it. Reconcile with each other. Look at where you went wrong. Accept your mistake for not thinking to that level, and both of you can come to a point, converging point, and then move on with life. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Very deep explanation. Yes. Thank you. And I think we are still in the religion thing, because a lot of questions are coming from that direction. That if you are, maybe your church has declared fasting, and your husband want to sleep with you, and he said, because of the fasting, I cannot do that. Is it a misconduct?
Of course, yes, it is.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know, but what I understand is, whether it's fasting or whatever, once the man or the woman is your wife or husband, of course, the fasting should not be an obstruction, or it should not be a barrier.
Okay.
Yeah, so you should live normal life. Unless you both
This is Jafric
agree that
Radio.
during this time of fasting, you want to remain holy. You want to keep yourself away from intercourse or anything that will make you unholy. If both of you agreed, then it's okay. But biblically or spiritually, I'm not sure that if couples are in fasting, it's wrong to have sex. I'm not sure that's wrong spiritually. Of course, I don't have. Yes, I'm not sure.
Right.
Any religion will say.
Other people think that during fasting you must stay pure and holy, so they don't allow their husbands to get close to them.
If you have to have communication with your husband or your wife, but like I'm saying, for me, I haven't heard it whether it's written in the Bible or, and I haven't heard from any of my Islam friends saying that it's haram or whatever. I haven't heard anything
during fasting.
If the person is your husband or your wife, if he's not your husband, then of course.
Oh yeah, that's
not good. But if it's your wife or your husband, well, I'm not sure religiously it's wrong to do that.
Yeah. Mr. Aya, do you have any opinion? Because a lot of people are asking these questions, and I myself am confused.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's my opinion.
Thank you very much. Let me set the record straight here. Number one, so far as Islam is concerned, a man has a right, and a woman too has a right over the man. A man has a right over the woman, and the woman too has a right over the man. So whatever you want to do, you need to first say, as Mr. Jackie said, communication. You need to communicate.
Yeah.
First, if you don't communicate with your husband or wife before you undertake fasting, it is not right. That's the first place. So, for Islamic point of view, you are supposed to communicate with your husband that I want to fast on this day, from this time to this time, I want to fast. For husband to agree on.
Okay.
That is it. Let me put it here, not to say it is also obligated on the man to also inform the wife that he wants to fast. You don't just get up and do it, and then when you are approached and then you begin to narrate stories, that is not done. And in fasting, Mr. Achi wanted to know whether any religion declares sexual intercourse something forbidden in it. Yes, Islamically, yes. Because what is the essence of fasting? When you are fasting, you are communicating you are putting yourself and then communicating with your maker. So you need to dedicate yourself and everything that you are doing. You don't do your personal thing. You have to dedicate yourself to that, and then you concentrate, and then you be prayerful. So Ado also wants to agree with the adjective by saying pure or impure when you get into the sexual relationship. Sexual relationship, which is Islamically we say halal, which is accepted, it is never called impure.
This is Jafric Radio.
Purely okay. But sexual relationship which has to do with somebody who is not your partner, that is what is impure. So Islamically, if you want to observe fasting, you need to alert your wife or your husband so that he or she will know. And then when at a certain date, in fact, Islamically it is forbidden to have sex during fasting. So once you are doing that, your husband don't have to do that. Or and your wife who doesn't have the right to be able to go in that extent. Then once you do that, the fasting is invalid. Your fast is invalid. And so that one
that is Islamic point of view.
Yes, it's completely.
Yeah, but if I have to come in, I think what you're saying could be right too in Christianity too.
Exactly.
Yes, like I'm saying, normally when you're fasting, you need to concentrate, pay attention, be holy throughout all those days that you've set forth. But here is a case, maybe you have no communication with your wife, and as couples, it becomes what? You can't help yourself during that time. Then ultimately you're going to break the fasting if you should yourself should get into that action of intercourse. So it's your understanding whether you talk to your wife, communicate with your husband during the fasting time, and let one understand that this is the situation we want to get into during this time.
Yeah.
So in every fasting, of course, like he's saying, you need to concentrate. That's a fact. And if you cannot, and you bring in all those kind of sexual intercourse and romantic, all those kind of things.
Mr. Let me come in here. I'm not talking of the personal fasting that you yourself wanted to do, but let's say the church has declared fasting,
whether it's a church
where your
fasting,
husband is also in the church.
Listen, whether it's a church fasting or individual fasting, you need to concentrate, like you said.
Yeah.
You must have all your focus on, the fasting that you're doing. So whether it's the whole church or it's an individual, that's my understanding. So once it comes in, then somehow you become unholy to yourself. So like he's saying, yes, you need to communicate before it comes in, but like the Islam forbids it. Well, for that I can't go much into that.
Yeah, because
in a way,
is
my
what they
understanding.
believe. So
Of course, yes, I believe.
We should
So you got to respect that.
Yeah.
But I still understand it in that way. That yes, even if you're Christian, whoever you are, if you have to fast, focus and just stay away from those things. That's an advice. So I can understand and respect the Islamic way too. Of course, and accept it myself. But yeah. Otherwise, if you both are couples in the house.
A friend of mine also said, just as you break the fasting, let's say if it is from 6 to 6, when 6 o'clock comes, you break the fast and eat. So during eating, you can also eat the natural food. That has already been prepared, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Well, it can be something like passiveness in your action. That means you are doing that fasting.
You're listening.
Not solely to worship God, but you are doing that for something. That when you get what you want, what is godly is no more your concern. So you become a passive worshipper or believer or whatever. That means you're looking for something. That is why you are fasting. So when it's 6 o'clock, you jump into the food and you feel relationship with your wife too can be attended to after 6 o'clock. That's your mind. That's passiveness. And for me, I'm not sure my faith dictates to me that it's a good way to do it.
All right.
Yeah, because if you are fasting for 40 days, like the Islams do, right?
This is Jafric Radio.
For me, I will sort of conscript myself and be holy during those days, just to concentrate. Otherwise, I'm not sure you can have a good result should you, sort of bring in those kind of unholy attitudes.
Yeah.
Go
All
ahead.
right. Elder Ajimai has sent a message, and I would like to read for the viewers and also of us to know, and if we have any comment or reaction to this, we can do that. It said 1 Corinthians chapter 7 verse 5 reads, "Do not deprive each other except perhaps by mutual consent and for a time, so that you may devote yourself to prayer. Then come together again, so that Satan will not tempt you because of your lack of self-control."
I think it's
So
same
thing as we are saying.
Yeah.
So I think the two should agree first
Yeah.
and know that this is what we are going through or we're going to do, and then when it's over, you come back again to your normal life so that Satan will not also tempt you. And in a case like everything, when things are not going well, especially those that has devoted all their times to, let's say, church activities, but anytime you want to talk about it, the answer comes like God first.
This is Jafric Radio.
The person doesn't have much time for you, much time for the marriage, and all that you hear is that God first. Can we also attribute it or classify that one as misconduct in marriage?
Yes. Dickness, my straightforward answer is yes.
Your reason why yes.
Yes, the yes is that. You see, marriage is a contract and it involves a lot of things. You see, but you see, the issue of sex forms, even though small percentage of it, but it's very, very, very important.
Right.
You understand? Because as for the women, they have some kind of relief that between the man and the woman, the repulsion is more from the man than the woman. The woman just look, she likes it, but she doesn't have bodily sensations. But a man, even the eye, when bazooka can act, and when I'm sorry, when I say bazooka, I mean when bazooka it goes.
This is Jafric Radio.
What a man see is what he acts on.
All right.
And then if he is able to control his brain, then we say he's an upright man. So sometimes when those who are not able to control what they see, what the eye see, and the brain interpret to them, they go in the excess and they say they are not disciplined, they are stopping the what have you, and that is where the issues come. Marriage contract cannot be full if sexual intercourse is not part of it.
Okay.
And if you try to use God as yardstick, it is God who created that, and it is not. It is also because it is also religious acts. When you are married, and then it is also religious acts, because there is a proof. If I'm talking Islamic, there is a proof by the Prophet when he advised people that when they have sexual intercourse, they have a blessing and reward from God. Then somebody asked, is that so? He said yes. But in the opposite side, when you have it with somebody who is not legally, when you are legally married woman or whatever, you have a sin.
That's right.
So if you does it in your marital home self, you are obliged. If you does it, you have blessing as well. It is written for you as a blessing.
And outside marriage.
And outside married to that one, so it's not
a
not
sin.
Good. It's a sin completely. So if you are married to someone and then you deny the person by using God as in the yardstick, you will be punished. It is not, because you can do it. You don't have you don't have obstacles, and you can do it. Then you are trying to lie, use someone and something. You use God as it is not fair, because that is also one of the misconduct that we talk about. If you misconducted yourself, and you will not be forgiven, and that is there. So we should know exactly. That's why I said we should first go for premarital counseling.
Yeah,
the premarital counseling is very important. All these things will
always
be,
said about
all this will be enumerated.
Yeah,
they will enumerate them for you to understand, and then you know exactly what it means when we say people are married or these are couple. So you will not use God for an excuse. God time, you have to give his time.
His
to
time,
him.
yes.
And your husband time, you have to give it to him. Your wife time, you have to give it to him. If you breach any of that, whoever breaches it, you are misconducting yourself.
That's right.
And those minor things can lead to a broken marriage.
That's right.
And so it's a broad spectrum that we have to look at. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr.
Yeah.
So
If I
don't
can-
use God as.
Oh yes, if I can add to what he's saying, in the Christian Bible it says sexual misconduct is the only way that you can divorce a woman. I was suggesting maybe it could be a topic someday.
All right.
Like he's saying, sexual misconduct. What is it? You see, this is what we're talking about. Anything that you do during sexual activity with your husband, which he does not perceive as normal, is misconduct act.
All right.
And he can use that as an excuse to do whatever. that is sexual malpractices, misconduct.
Misconduct.
So, yes, like he's saying,
during sexual
activities or performance.
Performance.
Yes.
If you do not perform well.
Not performance, not performing well. But what I'm trying to say is, like he's saying, maybe you are using some excuses. You know,
I have headache. I have
headache, and all those kind of things.
Yeah.
You know, they're all misconduct in the relationship.
Wow.
Some women sleep with.
Women, are you there?
Some women sleep with tight clothing on their body.
Yeah.
So as the men.
Others even demand money before.
In a way to prevent.
They lose themselves.
In a way to prevent both of them, maybe having that kind of intimate relationship in the night, you know. So they are all misconduct in the relationship. Yes. That's what I'm trying to say. Not just performing and not doing well in bed. No, that's not it. But your reactions before the behavior that you put on. Yes, it's all misconduct. So, like the Christian Bible have said it, it's the only way that you can use to divorce a woman. So you can see that it's a gross mistake to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah. And using God first, what does it mean? People should understand that. What does it mean to say God first before everything?
Okay. When I do well,
You know? And you should ask yourself, then who is God?
Yeah.
You know? So if you want to put God first, does it mean, stop whatever you are doing with your husband, go and serve the God maybe in your corner of your room or what? What does it mean? You have to define that first.
Yeah, for example, maybe your husband is hungry and coming home you're reading Bible or you're doing something pertains to the church and you don't want to, get the attention to help what the needs of your husband or to look for the need of your husband. But when the person asked, said God first.
I disagree with that. It's a misconduct. The church is an institution. You can leave the church and go somewhere. When your husband leaves you, you're going to struggle. What about that? If you have to use the church services as an excuse to stop serving your husband, should the husband get away from you? Is the church going to give you a new one? Is the church going to replace your wife or replace your husband? No, doing services to your spouse or your husband is also serving God. Don't forget that. Yes. So if you refuse to do that because of the organization that you are attending or the fellowship that you are attending, that you are doing this when there's time for you to serve your husband, and you refuse that, it's misconduct.
Wow.
Using the services that you do for the church, it's okay to do that. No one is saying it's wrong. But when it's time that you should serve your wife, you should serve your husband, and you bring in, because of that, and you're saying God first, where is God first? What does it mean? So I won't accept that you use the church as an excuse.
An excuse, yeah.
Not serving your spouse or your wife or your husband, or not having intimacy with him. Yes, it's a misconduct.
Right.
That's my understanding.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and let me ask this question. In a case of mistrust in marriage, what would be the solution? My husband has done something behind me. He has betrayed my trust so much that I can't cope anymore. What do I do?
Thank you, Dickney. Let me say here, add to the earlier question that, God is mighty.
Yes.
And all-knowing.
Yeah.
He is omnipotent and omnipresent.
All right.
He's mightier than we think. There's nothing that hides under this sun
That's right.
that he doesn't know. So he knows what we think about, even before we were born. He knows what we will do, the tricks we play. But he has put his guidance there that they are giving us brain, and that makes a difference between man and then the animals. If not, all of us are animals, but the difference is we are able to interpret things with our brain and are able to know from left from right. But for them, they have the brain, they can only follow their stomach, and that's all. You see, religion is not only standing in front of God, it is also how you live and associate with people.
Okay.
They are all godly. So if you have a husband, that's why I said earlier on that in the contract or in the before the consummation even, you have to understand exactly what marriage is.
Marriage is, yeah.
So if you are married, and then your husband gets home or your wife gets home and you are holding the newspaper, or you are on your screen with how do you call it, Liverpool is playing.
That one is man thing.
She's talking and you don't care. Your concentration is on your screen. That is misconduct.
Okay.
And that is not godly. Likewise, if you are holding the Bible, you are reading the Bible, and your wife gets and she's talking to you, you have to put the word of God down. Listen, because that is your partner. And you don't know what a person is bringing on. Even if he brings something that you don't like, you need to communicate. And that is also godly. Because to talk to your other colleagues, who is even not your spouse self, is also godly. So we need to associate with each other. So your wife or your husband, you are supposed to socialize and communicate with that person. He needs your attention, you have to give it to the person. You have to do your possible best and let the person understand exactly what you are doing. Don't pretend as if you love God than God himself loves us. You can't do that. So please, that is my advice to the upcoming couple. You should always listen. If you know you cannot do those things,
then it's better not to marry. Just as how Paul said.
You have to conduct yourself well. So that was the second question.
Yeah, it's about the mistrust.
Yes, mistrust. Mistrust is not also only. In fact, when it comes to marriage, we always, as soon as we talk about mistrust, we always tune our mind to sex and what have you. That is not the only thing. Your wife gives you something to keep. You are not able to keep it the way it is. You lose her trust.
Right.
Your husband gives you the house to manage with something, then you are not able to account for it the way you are supposed to do. It is also, you are also losing the person's mistrust. If you continue doing that, it has ripple effect on the relationship. And at a certain point, the person will get fed up and they will be able to enumerate all those things. And that will be the exit point. And it is better you prevent issue coming down, allowing it to come before you solve it. That is not the best way of to live. So all boils down to, you need to conduct yourself within the frames of the marriage contract or the marriage itself. That's why you need to understand what it is. Who is your husband? What is the meaning of it? Who is your wife? What is the meaning of it? When a child comes between the two of you, who is that child or that thing? Excuse me to say, excuse my words. What does it mean to us? And what does it mean to the world? And what does it mean to religion? When you are able to iron out all those things, that is where you begin to understand. Other than that, you continue to misconduct yourself, and your misconduction will lead to breakage or disassociation, and disassociation will lead to breakage. So that's that. Thank you.
Wow. Mr. Fred, is there any point that you want to bring?
I think he's explaining it. Of course, mistrust is just like he's saying, of course. That is one losing trust in the other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Inappropriate use of things, or not informing the other before using money or something of that sort in the family. Yes, they all misconduct in the family, and of course, it's misconduct. Yeah, if your spouse loses trust in you, that means you are misconducting yourself. That's why it has happened. Yeah. So, yes, like you said, marriage is an institution that we both have to. We're both, how do you say, consignees or parties of it, and we've got to hold our responsibilities well. And in any relationship, before it can grow well, there has to be trust. Trust is number one.
Number one.
Yes, in any relationship. You see? So, if your wife, even if your friends lose trust in you, look at how it goes. So, less more the person that you live with. So it is not good. It's misconduct to, yes, to have your spouse mistrust you. So the advice is people should communicate well. Stop that secrecy things.
That secrecy.
Yes, things
That's
that
true.
goes on in the relationship. Yeah, communicate well. Communication is a fact. It's the most important in every relationship. Before anybody can understand you, you need to communicate well and make yourself clear.
Yeah.
You see?
Yes.
Yeah. Otherwise, once mistrust takes in, it can lead to a whole lot of malpractices or misbehavior in a relationship. Yes.
Yeah, and some of the these issues, it's as a result of some of the advice given, especially to ladies before getting married. I quite remember as soon as I got married, there was a woman who was advising me to be careful to serve my husband well and all sort of things. And later he said, if you have a plan of doing something for your own, don't let anything be a barrier, and don't rely on your husband, because men are not pillow that you have to rely on him. So whatever you want to get in that marriage, make sure you get. Don't wait until your husband died before you fight on the properties that the man gave. So I was like, oof. So these are some of the things, if care must not be taken, and if you don't know, let's say, the kind of man, or if you don't understand what marriage stands for, and you pick this advice, by all means, you're going to do something that will lead to mistrust in your marriage. And a lot of people are doing it. Others are building their houses without the knowledge of others in the marriage. Wife is building her own house, the husband is doing a different project that the other one doesn't know. So I think mistrust is something that we need to.
Yes, I don't know where you got that advice, but to be honest with you, it's the wrong source of
exactly
advice.
Even I told my mother,
Yes,
and what she said
source.
is, this is demonic. That was what my mother told me. Demonic advice.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah.
We need to understand what marriage is. You know, I think we've said a lot here. And let me use myself as an example. You know, when I was a student at the Japan Academy, before I graduated, no, even after graduation, you know, I wanted my nephew to come here. And before that, of course, when I was a student here, I was even making more money than today. Yeah, I was on company scholarship, and I was, and you know, I was able to have enough money with me. I was a single person and much younger. So, and for me, I don't have a mother. Let me see, my mother died before I turned 3. So I have a lot of siblings there. They're all grown-ups, and mostly women. And you know, in the kind of families that we come from, you know, sometimes we look at ourselves for help.
This is Jafric Radio.
And in my family, I was maybe among the earliest who came to overseas. So when I was finishing school, and I had some money with me, and I knew I was supporting most of my sisters, my nephews and nieces, and it was a big hurt for me. But I said to myself, I needed to marry.
Yeah.
And I was trying to contemplate one day that if I should get married, how am I going to look at my wife, then bring in all these siblings, their nephews and nieces? Because it came to a point, everybody was, my uncle is in Japan, so I have to write to him for this. And those days I wasn't married, so and I was doing it. Of course,
so hard.
Whatever they asked me, I would do it them, because like I said, I was having money too. But it came to a point, and I decided, no, I have to let my siblings understand that when I get married, this kind of support that they're having will cease.
That's right.
And I was bold myself. I made a cassette that was then.
Yeah, then.
I made a cassette. I spoke long time over it, and I told them that, look, all this support that you're having, once I get married, I'm going to turn to my wife, and all this thing will cease. I made it point blunt to them, yes. And that was what I did. Then when I get married, everything will cease. Yes, and it ceased. So it's what I'm trying to say is we need to communicate with one another to let our feelings out.
Yeah.
So when you have your wife or your husband, he or she is the only person that you have to share your property or whatever you have with.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound sensible to me for a wife and a husband to build separately in their country. So ask yourself, when you go back home, where are you going to stay? Are you going to live in the wife's place?
That's the point.
And what is going to be the man's? Are you going to share the children or what? Or is because you have enough money, so you want to build a lot of houses for people? Well, you can do that, but for me, my understanding is doing them separately is wrong. Yes. Doing them separately.
Yeah.
She's from Efien Kwanta and he's from Kumawu. Secretly, they put up mansions. They didn't know one another. So when they come together one day in Ghana, before they got to know that, oh, they built separately. What are you going to say to one another?
Yeah.
Very weird.
Yeah.
And I don't advise that you watching me should not do that.
Yeah.
Always stick to your wife or your husband.
That's right.
Plan together and have a common purpose for whatever you're doing.
Oh. So deep. Thank you so much, Mr. Fred. And let me read the messages that has come, and then I think we continue. We have Rock Adams from East Legon. Yes, he said in Accra. He said super discussion. All right, Rock, thank you so much. And that you might try to explain the meaning of mutual consent. Said mutual consent here means agreement. Therefore, if one does not agree, then they have to engage in sexual activities. I think he was talking about the fasting. If one doesn't agree.
I think we said a lot about it.
Yes. And then coming to Nanaya. Nanaya says demanding before sex makes it exciting. And then she laughed. Ha ha ha. And then this question is for Mr. Yaya. Said Mr. Yaya, what about your spouse not trusting you with his or her phone?
Well, thank you. I don't know. I don't know if it is Mami Ago.
Mami Ago.
Yeah,
it's her.
Yeah, Mami Ago. You see, what actually do you want from your husband's phone, if you have one? That is one question that we need to answer ourselves before demanding the phone. If you want to use the phone for what? If you have some, assuming your phone you cannot do what you are doing, or you have information that you want to retrieve, or whatever you want to do.
This is Jafric Radio.
Give it to you because he is your partner. That is number one. Number two, if you hide your phone from your wife, why? What do you have in there that you want to hide it from her? Or if you hide your phone from your husband, what do you have in there? So that one too, you are even
Suspicious.
Bring it suspicious. That's right.
That is it that I know. But one thing is, I will advise others to. Once you also realize the person is hiding it, you need to forget it. Because you see, if you two become curious, there is a saying that you don't look for a black goat at night. And it also goes then if you are looking for black goat at night, it's very difficult for you to see.
When it is in the dark.
Yes. You don't do that. What do you see? And then stay away. There's a simple that stay away. We have been advised, stay away from what you don't want, and it will never come to you.
Yeah, what you don't want to see, prevent it.
So what you don't like is maybe what he is doing. So you stay away from his phone. That's it. He will even forget himself, and then being suspicious. Then he forget himself one day. Yes. So is it when he's doing an evil thing, bad thing, or he's misconducting himself in the phone, using the phone, it will come because it will come one day where you are not even prepared to, and the thing will get to you, and you know it. So when you know it, you don't take it furious. Ask the person if you think it is misconduct. Advise the person.
Right.
That's all. But to insist that you want to see red wine when you know the millet that produces it is white, it also creates another problem.
Okay.
So please, Mami Ago, just stay away from what you don't like and stop looking for black gold at night. Thank you.
Wow. Stop looking for black goat at night. Right. And Mami Ago again. He said, how can one cope with a relationship that you can't touch your spouse phone, open their letters or parcels when you receive them in their absence? Your spouse only touches your letters to go through only after it's been opened by the bearer's name. So I think
well, you see, all this that you are talking about is all mistrust. For me, if I should use myself an example, I haven't even touched my girlfriend's telephone before.
okay.
I can speak with authority, not even my wife. No, I don't have any business to do with that.
Okay.
It's because my mind is clear about her.
You are a man, so you don't understand.
Well,
Women are very.
I'm not sure she has looked into my phone before too.
All right.
So I don't hide anything. It's always open.
It's there.
And she did. I'm
if
not
you
sure
want
she's done.
touch, if you don't leave it.
So all this thing is misconduct that we're talking about. I mean, why did it happen in the first place?
Right.
Something went wrong somewhere along the line.
Yeah.
This is
So both
Jeffrey
of you
Radio.
became suspicious of one another. So the question is, what happened?
What happened?
Why the mistrust? You have not been open to yourself from the beginning. So you've not trusted yourself from the beginning. Your communication ability was wrong.
All right.
So there was mistrust has taken place. So you go around looking for information just to sort of take a position in the relationship.
All right.
So in case of anything, you stand in a position and you point your finger. You are causing this, you are doing that, and you are breaking it away. You see? So all that we're talking about, these are all mistrust. So if you don't trust your husband or your wife, then it's time for you to put your heart or your mind. Know that you're in a relationship, you are married to somebody, you have a spouse, and he is the only person that you have to be open to. So begin to correct yourself, have proper communication with your spouse, and stop mistrusting one another, suspecting one another that you have something in the phone or whatever.
So the only way to cope with, he said, how can one cope? Is to,
Yes, stop it. Stop it and have communication with one another.
Yeah.
And for the men too, my advice is just be responsible. Yes, if you're a responsible man, why would you let your wife suspect you in the first place?
Yeah.
You see, if you're a responsible person, why would you let her suspect you? Maybe you've done something that
Suspicious.
yes.
Yeah.
So she's grown suspicious of. You get my point. And I'm always speaking with vim. For me, look, I'm a man, but when I got married, like I said to my family that when I got married, I would stop the support for you. It's the same thing. When I got married, I said to myself, I have to respect my wife. So, and I did not betray her until the time that our relationship became irrevocably broken. I mean, until when we divorced. Yes, and I'm proud of that. She knew I would not betray her, and I never did. So I didn't create any behavior that would make her suspect me. So people doing that, looking into the phones of their spouses, there's a great amount of suspicion going on there. And it is you, the man or the woman, creating that in a family.
Yeah.
So my advice is stop doing that.
Thank you.
Oof.
Yeah, straightforward. Stop doing that and communicate.
Stop doing that. Okay, then let's go to Edajibai. Edajibai has also said something. He said, how does communication solve the issue of mistrust?
Then without communication, how can you have education?
Well, yes, communication can solve it. Because before you start mistrusting the person, you saw something or you suspected something. There was an action that led to the suspicion. Okay? So you interpreted that action probably different way without approaching head on. If you approach the action that you saw or that called for that head on by open-heartedly, Dickness, when I was entering, I saw you turning the screen of your phone down. What was it? What were you hiding from me? What is it? Probably it wasn't so. Probably when she was about getting up, so immediately you also entered. There is something that could happen at that particular moment. So maybe she was just getting up as you entered. So the screen was turning whilst you were. So her mind is not, or his mind is not there. So, but if you approach the person with open heart, soft tone, communication with good choice of words, definitely the person will open up, even if the person was doing an evil thing. The person will show, or even if the person succeed in lying, afterward he or she would think and they realize, no, my husband, my wife doesn't have ill feeling for me based on what he said, and he never bothered to also continue to say, let me see, or whatever. So this is some of the tracks that it can be. So another point is, if it's about a normal issue, it's not about phone, it's a normal issue. Speak up, open up, let yourself be heard, be clear and respectful. That's all. When you do that, what happens is, at the end of the day, excuse me to say, in our local dialect, we say, listeners, I'm going to Ghana. That's you're born in Samasa. If the person is not good or he has something to hide, it will surely come. You just think positive for the person, and then the rest you leave it to the maker. He will handle it, and he will vindicate you if there is something that is hidden from you. But if you keep that thing that she or he was doing something and that has made you to mistrust her continuously, it will be eating you up, and any action that the person does, even positive, you interpret it different way. Once you interpret it that way, it keep on haunting you till, and it will, at the end of the day, it will affect the relationship and your personal. So please, communication will also solve. The person will open up and he will be able to understand exactly what the person was doing or what the person said that you misinterpreted it, and then at the end of the day, the solution will come. You understand each other and you reconcile, you forgive the person forgives you, you admit each other's, then you move on. Thank you.
Whoa, thank you so much, Mr. Yaya. And I think Elder agrees with your point, your explanation. And okay, let's Mr. Johnny Yoshimura said, I agree, it is self-discipline that both partners have to exercise in the marriage.
Excellent.
Yes.
Yeah, he's right.
Self-discipline.
Exactly.
Yes. Because what do you want from the man's phone?
And what do you want from the woman's
And
phone?
what do you want from the woman's phone?
So it's self-discipline.
Yeah.
Stop that.
And most of the times, as for me, I know the password to my husband's phone, everything. He knows mine. But obviously, I don't touch his phone unless maybe I want to make a call and my phone is not close to me. Then I quickly grab my husband, I use it for call, I drop it down. I can even read his messages, I don't care, because I know that nothing bad will come in. Yeah.
That's the trust you build. You see, that's the trust you have built in the family.
Yes.
You see, so
Yes.
that is good.
Yeah, so I think this one we should try as much as we can to build trust.
Yeah.
And if I just as it says, if you have nothing to fear, why are you hiding? Yeah, so we should open up. Open up. And Nanaya again said, I beg, I ask for somebody. Oh, Nana, I know it's not for you. I know it. I know it. In fact, I know. Okay. Thank you so much. I think we are running out of time. Our time is almost yeah. So I'll give Mr. Jechi 1 minute to summarize everything that you've said, and Mr. Ayatu will have 1 minute.
Well, I think we've said a lot. And misconduct in relationships, of course, it's not anything that you should entertain in the family.
Okay.
Mistrust is number one. Don't forget that. It leads to all sort of look areas and bring all sort of misbehavior in the relationship. So begin from today, open your heart, be positive.
Right.
You, the man, take responsibility. Try and build a family on trust, not mistrust. Trust one another and have a good relationship. Much love.
Thank you. Much love. Thank you to the viewers. Mr. Yaya, 1 minute.
Thank you, Deaconess. What I would say is marriage is an institution and we should understand it before we get into it. And then you should also know you have a right, you have a right over your wife. Your wife also has a right over you. So it is a two-way affair. So you should know that everything that you are doing together, and everything that you are doing because of God. Because when you do something because of God, what happens is the result is always awesome. You don't
This is Jafric Radio.
the person suspects you. If your partner suspects you, you have to do what you are supposed to do godly. If you do it godly, all the suspicion will go on and on, and at the end of the day, the person is not going to get that, and then the trust begin to come. But if you begin to look for things, answers, being logic, being being a pocket lawyer on certain things, certain issues, being so tight on issues when a simple question is posed to you, then you tighten it, you make it so difficult, the answer so difficult. Definitely, the person begins to know that you are trying to frustrate him or her and begin to suspect you on other things. But you think positive and don't let your other partner sin be your sin. You don't sin because your partner sins. This is what we get it wrong. You sin because your partner sinned. And maybe one day I'll explain that.
Okay.
And then you move on with life and love. Marriage is very interesting. It's lovely. It makes lives good. It's very awesome to be in there. So please, whatever you do there, please try to stay focused and think positive. Thank you.
Thank you. In fact, a big question has come up. Asked my producer to give me like 5 minutes for us to, discuss this one. Please. Am I permitted? Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, this is from Edward Amanfo. He said, we must address ourselves to one reality. Mistrust may not be as a result of experience the marriage couple encountered. It could be a symptom of deficiency one has at one of the critical stage of human development. Mistrust could be a severe psychological problem. Is that so?
I think there was some sort of contradiction in this statement.
Yeah.
Of course, it can have a psychological problem in the family. Imagine you are living with somebody and you don't trust that person. What do you think he's going to do?
It's very difficult.
Whatever she does, you don't trust, you don't believe in her. And the same thing too. So that psychological effect can be there. Yeah, but he was saying something that it cannot be what? It depends on situation or what? Or it's an effect of something.
Says it
Yeah.
a deficiency.
Yeah. It's okay. Let me read it again. He said, mistrust may not be as a result of experience the marriage couple encountered. It could be a symptom of deficiency
of something.
one had at one of the critical stage of human development.
I'm not sure that it's related much. Whatever the deficiency is, you have to develop strict communication activities. This is what we are talking about. The communication that we are seeing here, talk to your spouse on every subject, every matter.
Okay.
That's the communication we are talking about here. So when there's deficiency in whatever area in the relationship, the two should talk over it.
Right.
So you do not suspect one another.
Okay.
You don't hide anything from that.
Right.
Yeah, Mr. Amalfo's this question or the submission is something that is very critical. Somebody live. What it also means is the person, one party might live with people or where he grew up, where he came from, his upbringing. There was this kind of mistrust between him and then the people where he lives. Nobody believed or trusted each other. So he carried that thing into the marriage. So when he carries
and
that
it
thing
happens
into
a lot.
Yes, it happens. He carried that thing into the marriage and it begin to cause trouble for the marriage. So definitely he does for communication, whatever. They've been communicating all right. They've been doing everything all right. But because
of that kind of psychological
effect that he has built
inherited upon.
Yes, he has built in, he has stayed with for a longer time. That has make it difficult for the person to understand or agree on whatever it is.
Yeah,
that takes time. You see,
so
this is Jafric Radio.
Educate the other or mature the other. You see, I'm always using myself an example. For me, the way I am, I've been disciplined and principled from my very beginning.
All right.
You see, so I always look at the wrong side of things and try to stay away from it. I knew when I get into marriage with somebody, a woman, stay away from my past and don't have influence from your family, friends, and all those kind of things. You see, I was able to sort of think about such issues. So when I got married, I was very certain that there wouldn't be outside influence, and I wouldn't sit on my back behaviors and let that come into my marriage, to spoil it or to create some sort of suspicion in it. You see, so what I would advise people
This is Jafric Radio.
Like he's saying, of course, maybe you have psychological effect from somewhere.
Exactly, and others, Mr. Fred, got so much scar in their minds about those things, and it's happening. Especially men physically abuses their wives, especially when the kids
he's
are
from one
there.
marriage into another.
Yeah, when kids are there and they saw what happened, others may try not to even get married at all because of what has happened to their parents, or in the marriage of their parents. They don't want to even enter. And others that sees their fathers in a polygamous manner, they think that every man is a cheat. So others may enter into the marriage with that in their mind, that every man is a cheat.
Well,
So no matter how good the man is, the woman still have a lot of things against him because of the past, maybe the upbringing, what he saw the parents doing. So,
well,
yeah.
in computer network, we have something called reset. So once you get into any new relationship, for me, I would advise that you reset your mind and begin the new relationship and focus on having happiness. That is building a relationship, forgetting about what happened. Because what happened yesterday will not necessarily be the same.
I think
tomorrow.
those people need counseling.
Counseling
Just
is
as-
okay.
yeah.
That it's okay. If you-
Counseling will help a lot.
It's expensive these days for some people. But if you cannot do that, the other thing is start your new relationship. That, like I said, renew your mind, your thinking. You see, renew your thinking in every new relationship and hope that this time it will be better. Because if you bring the past, you're still going to have the scars in your body and you would think the new one will be the same.
Yeah.
And that can affect you. You see? So the best thing is, like we've been saying about, communication is the best way to do things. Talk to your new partner, your new spouse,
Let
whoever,
him know what you've been through.
what you've been through.
Yeah.
So if he has any help, he can help you. So let him know that should he go through the same behavior as happened in the past, or like you've experienced, it won't help you.
Yeah.
You see? So communicate with your spouse. And like we're saying, in any new relationship, reset your mind. Build new relationships and forget about the past.
Forget about the past.
Yes.
Yes.
Because it can help you.
Just as Mr. Fred has said, if you have been through a lot in the past, you have to forget about it and focus on your marriage and your relationship.
This is Jafric Radio.
It work well for you. Thank you so very much, Mr. Yaya and Mr. Fred, for your wonderful submissions. We thank you so very much. We have a lot of messages that have come back. We're sorry, time cannot permit us to read all of them. So I think, is there anybody who go on YouTube and let's say the Facebook can also read those questions. I think when we get time, we may touch this same topic some time. All right. Okay. So we want to thank all of you, our cherished viewers. We thank you so very much for your wonderful contributions that has come. We thank all of you. We thank the DJ today. DJ that I have is my own producer, executive producer, Nanaya.
This is Jafric Radio.
You can call him Popcorn. All right. Thank you so very much. And let me remind you again that Bayside Modeling Agency sponsored this program. And also we have the Joyful English Conversational School. I think when we you see all the information on the screen. Yeah, it's an English conversational school that it's in Chiba Prefecture. We have one at Kashiwashi and one at Matubaracho. So you can call them on 047 151 5909 and Mr. Kobayashi will speak with you. Thank you so very much. We just want to close for today's program, Home Sweet Home, and we will come on your way next week, same time, 4 p.m. Japan time. I want to thank Tomric Hotel for their sponsorship, and also if you are out there and you want to sponsor any program, please feel free and contact Jafric Radio. We just want to say thank you so much. My name is Abina Poma Pokufuku, a lady with a long name. You can call me Dickness Poma. Until we meet again, we say sayonara.
Ciao Tinaga, it's Alfred here from Tokyo. You're listening to Jafric Radio. Ciao ragazzi, it's Alfred here from listening to Jafric Radio.
This is Jafric Radio. This is Jafric Radio.
makes you happy.
Kwa majina naitwa John Bahati Bisimwa. Natokea Congo, Republic of Congo. Kwa sasa naishi Japan, ndani ya Tokyo. Munasikiliza Jafric Radio Online, number 1 in Japan. Hakuna matata, tuko fresh.
Salve, mi chiamo Mano e tu stai ascoltando Jafric Radio. Freak out! Jafric, le
สวัสดี
chic.
ค่ะ ชื่อแอมนะคะ มาจากประเทศไทยค่ะ ตอนนี้กำลังเป็นนักแสดงอยู่ที่ประเทศญี่ปุ่นนะคะ ตอนนี้คุณกำลังฟังอยู่ในคลื่นวิทยุ Jafric Radio
Oi, aqui é a Paula e você está assistindo Jafric Radio.
You are listening to Jafric Online Radio live from Japan. Yeah!
This is Jafric Radio.